Hello. This presentation outlines the results of a survey of stakeholders conducted as part of the C-Surveys project. The main objectives of the project is to provide guidance for successful implementation of circularity in the electrical and electronic equipment sector. And we're doing this by developing and testing circular economic business models. The project includes research and industry partners in a consortium that enables us to test theories in practical manufacturing, sales, and end-of-life treatment environments. The objectives of the survey were to inform the creation of circular economic business models, and we did this through firstly, engagement and consultation of relevant stakeholders throughout the entire EEE value chain, analysis of circular economy awareness, current practices relating to circular economy, and circular economy opportunities, barriers, and enablers. The focus on the technical, the economic, socio-cultural, regulatory, and environmental aspects. And the survey would identify the requirements of stakeholders regarding circular economic business models, so we could build this into the work we were doing. The research enabled the C-Surveys project to engage quite extensively with stakeholders in the value chain, and these were targeted so they could provide valuable input to the development of the economic business models. And we did this globally via 7 different stakeholder surveys, each designed to target the different stakeholder groups. And we also used 2 conference workshops to enable us to get intelligence on the subject. The surveys and the workshop were aimed at the groups shown here on this slide, which were designers, suppliers to manufacturers, retailers, business users and household users. They were done separately, and e-waste handlers. This last category included collectors, processors, and recyclers of e-waste. We produced the survey in English, but it was also translated into Italian, Spanish, and Turkish, which enabled the project partners to optimize their targeting of the networks they have in the countries speaking these languages. We received over 1,300 responses, which we're very pleased about, and there were many commonalities between the stakeholder groups, and that's allowed us to make some recommendations with a certain degree of confidence. As you can see from the slide, the targets for the surveys for designers and household end users were exceeded. For manufacturers and e-waste handlers, the returns were also very good, although slightly below target. For business users, it was only 51% of the targets. And as you can see, for suppliers and retailers, the returns were well below the target we set. And for both these stakeholder groups, the engagement process proved quite difficult for us. For suppliers, it was affected slightly by the ban on Google in China, where many of them are based. We used Google for the survey form. Word versions of the survey did help this a little, but that didn't really make it as effective as we wished. For the retailers, there was a general reluctance to give up the time to complete the survey, which was unfortunate. As C-Service is funded through the EU's Horizon 2020 programme, it's essentially Europe-centric. Although, as I mentioned earlier, we did distribute the survey globally, the majority of responses were from Europe. At sub-European level, the responses tended to come from the countries in which the C-Surveys partners are based, because this is where the networks of the partners are. And the responses, as you can see from the charts, most of the responses came from Spain, Italy, UK, Croatia, and Turkey. Once we had the results, we discussed them extensively with the partners, of course, and especially those from the manufacturing sector. And their appraisal and feedback on the results have been incorporated into our thinking and the recommendations we have produced. The 9 recommendations provided were aimed at giving guidance for the next steps in the CSRV's project, as well as giving an insight to external organisations and stakeholders. And the next stage in the project was to develop and adopt the circular economic business models. These recommendations are listed in a loose order of priority, although it should be stressed that there's very little difference in urgency between numbers 1 and 9. And so, taking them in order, the first one, make the business case to industry. We found that industry appears unconvinced that there's a solid business and financial case for circular economic business models. They rate softer options like building trust and enhanced corporate social responsibility. They rate these above the harder opportunities such as increased revenue. This means that to advance the circular economy, we'll need to demonstrate to business actors the sustainability and value of circular economy practices, and provide them with incentives to improve the financial viability, which means costs must be reduced and profit margins improved. Second on the list is to convince stakeholders of the benefits of the leasing model. Options for the leasing of products ranked really quite low with all stakeholder groups. Previous research, though, in our literature review, we noticed that this had suggested that leasing is quite a strong option for inclusion in circular economic business models. So here the challenge is to shift the mindset of all stakeholders so that leasing of products can be embraced. The third recommendation is to create incentives. Incentives that are geared towards the return of products and improve the ease of maintenance and repair. These are required to encourage the adoption and implementation of circularity. And these need to include fiscal incentives if the cost of repair, refurbishment and remanufacture continue to be of concern to the stakeholders. And also we found that with consumers especially, certificates and guarantees that can give the buyer confidence should be used to help sell the repaired and refurbished products. Number 4, engaging partnerships. The actors in the value chain we found really need to engage in partnerships with each other. Manufacturers need to be made aware of the technical and operational requirements of e-waste treatment. And e-waste handlers need to be informed of which materials are used to manufacture products. Also, that the cost and the responsibility for implementing circular economic business models needs to be shared across all stakeholders in the value chain. The 5th recommendation is to use ICT tools to share the product information. And simply put, the knowledge of where products are and what they contain is essential for dealing with them at the end of their life. Everyone in the value chain needs this information and needs to contribute to this information. Number 6 is provide training and education. The adoption of circularity requires training around the basic principles of circular economy and the development of supporting tools so that all stakeholders understand and appreciate the concept. Number 7 is to harmonise and enforce legislation. Authorities need to harmonise legislation, regulation and enforcement in order to create equivalent market conditions and a level playing field across the world. Different items of legislation in different countries shouldn't contradict each other. Definitions and and responsibilities in this area also need to be very clear for the people acting in it. Number 8, promote trust and enhanced corporate social responsibility. Considering that a vast majority of designers, suppliers, manufacturers, and retailers identify that building trust and enhancing corporate social responsibility reputation has a distinct economic opportunity. This needs to be built on, and we also need to nurture it so that these organisations, these stakeholders, strengthen and support circular economic business models. Number 9, stimulate demand or supply. This is really the chicken and egg problem, which is that circularity is not offered due to the lack of demand, while demand for circular products and services fails to pick up due to the lack of supply. The solution is that one or more of these things needs to be stimulated. And if it is more demand will call for its own supply, of course, while more offering of products and services based on circular economic business models should create demand. The other recommendations, the first 8, should help to stimulate at least one of the two of supply and demand. But this final recommendation, acts as a reminder that this really is one of the keys to the adoption. Okay, so that's it. In summary, there is a report available on the C-Service website. It is deliverable 1.2 of the project, Guidelines for Circular Economic Models in the Electrical and Electronic Sector. Just to note the contributors to this research were the WE Forum, Exergy, ADVA, Circularize, Lexmark, Loughborough University, SAT, Erion, and Electral. The report is available in the Project Activities tab on our website, which is at cserviceproject.eu. Thank you for watching. I'm James Horn. I'm the Project Manager for the WE Forum, and my contact details are there. Okay, thank you very much.